Welcome back. There is a live look outside from the Oregon coast. That's our Inn at Spanish Head Resort Hotel camera in Lincoln City. Thanks for watching Afternoon Live. If you suffer from stomach issues, you know all too well the effect it can have on your day-to-day life. Here to shed some light on some of the possible reasons for your tummy troubles, we welcome nutritionist Kelsey Weaver. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be back.
So there's lots of different reasons we could be having issues, and you're going to help us maybe identify some of the causes.
Absolutely.
Because you can't find a solution until you know what's wrong.
Exactly. And it's not usually just one thing.
Okay.
That's part of the problem, is it could actually be multiple things. And so kind of uncovering what those things are is really what's going to lead you to your answers.
And worth your investment of your time
Absolutely.
to find those answers. Okay, let's talk about chronic stress. I mean, this must impact so many people.
So many people. And I think that a common misconception with stress is that we think of it more as a psychological issue. So emotional, mental stress is where we're feeling it a lot in our bodies, but what we don't recognize, a lot of it's biochemical, things that are happening inside physiologically that we don't really recognize. And it can also be structural stress. So people in chronic pain, maybe even sciatica, things like that, that is a stress response in the body, and that also can affect your gut.
Really exhausting to put your body through that kind of stress all the
So
time too.
exhausting.
Okay, tell me about low stomach acid. How would you know that that's even occurring?
It's interesting because one of the common misconceptions with low stomach acid is people actually think they have high stomach acid.
Okay.
And this is where we see acid reflux. This is when we see heartburn. This is when we think, oh, the acid is coming up.
Right.
So that is a major problem, and I need to take an antacid, which
Okay.
actually can be one of the worst things you can do.
Oh no.
Right. So if we're taking an over-the-counter antacid, you really should be fairly positive that you actually have high stomach acid, and it's less than 1% of the population that actually does. If you don't have adequate stomach acid, you're not breaking down your foods in the upper GI.
Okay.
And if you're not breaking foods down in the upper GI, it's putting a lot of pressure on the lower GI, such as your small intestine and large intestine, so you're feeling gas and bloating and things like that, and you're not feeling pretty good in your body.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, and then what about blood sugar swings? I feel like a lot of people maybe aren't aware that they're dealing with this.
You are right on with that, because a lot of people think it's just a pre-diabetic or a
Right.
diabetic issue, but blood sugar swings are not something that's just affected by food. It's affected by all types of stress in general, because your cortisol is going to relate right back to your insulin, which relates back to your glucose levels in the blood. So if we are having any kind of blood sugar issue, it can cause inflammation, it can cause the nervous system to panic a little bit, and that slows your bowels tremendously.
Wonderful.
Yeah, isn't that great? Good news.
Okay, and then food sensitivities. I think people are aware this can be a problem, but kind of hard to figure out what the main culprit might be.
Absolutely right. Food sensitivities can be really hard because it's a delayed response. It's not a true allergy.
Okay.
And usually food sensitivities are going to be something that's systemic. So food sensitivities are going to relate right back to your immune system, but your immune system is as unique as you are. So one person is not going to have the same types of symptoms as another person.
Okay.
Someone might have brain fog and mood swings, while another person may have GI distress and trouble sleeping. We don't really know. It just depends on the nervous system.
And can be so hard to connect those dots when it doesn't appear immediately after you've just etten something.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Poor bile flow.
Yeah.
Again, how do we know what's going on?
This one's funny because I think a lot of people don't think of bile, and I think bile is a pretty fun topic. But bile is really interesting. It is made in the liver.
Okay.
And it really is imperative for fat digestion. So if we're really thinking about how are my moods, how are my hormones, how does my skin, how does my hair look and feel? If it's brittle, we're not feeling good, we're not sleeping good, we have hormone issues, you really need to take a closer look at the liver and see how bile is affecting you.
Okay.
Because if you have sluggish bile or congestion in the liver, then we're starting to have issues with digestion down the road as well.
That makes sense too. Okay, and then the microbiome imbalance. I mean, our gut really affects so much more of our body than we realize a lot of the time.
So the microbiome really is the culmination of all the bacteria in your gut. And there are trillions of cells in there. So you can shift your microbiome in a positive light, you can shift it in a negative light, and quite literally everything we do on a regular basis, not just with food, is going to shift your microbiome. So we really want to take a look at what are we doing on a regular basis to have it to help it in a positive way.
Okay, and find that balance.
Yep.
Okay, what about unseen inflammation? Again, sounds like it could be hard to narrow down.
It is, because the immune system is so incredibly unique person to person. But if we do have low-grade inflammation, common symptoms of that might be joint pain, brain fog, trouble sleeping, fatigue that really doesn't make sense for, even if you get lots of sleep, you're still tired, that type of thing. That's usually when we're seeing the immune system is having a really hard time. And so when we know that, there's systemic inflammation happening in the whole body, which of course is going to affect your gut.
So where do you start if you suspect you might be dealing with one of these issues or more than one, like you said?
I'm a big fan of looking at blood work and also looking at functional labs. So functional stool testing is really, really important because you get to see what's going on in the gut. You get to see what's going on with enzymes. You can understand stomach acid on a deeper level. You can see what the microbiome is really doing. And then if there are signs and symptoms with this person, we can also look at the nervous system. We can look at what's going on with the body and why digestion is really being tamped down.
Sounds like some things you could maybe start the process with your regular doctor and then maybe follow up with a specialist if that's something that comes into your world.
Definitely. I think it's tricky with conventional medicine because they are treating the whole body and they're looking at the whole body. And even going to a gastroenterologist, they're not typically going to look at functional labs in the same way. So knowing that there's a bridge there that can be crossed, I think is really important for viewers to understand, and it's okay if we kind of need to flirt in that direction.
Have you had a situation where somebody maybe narrows down one of these things and they start treating it, but they're going, gosh, I still don't feel better because maybe there's another issue lurking elsewhere?
Yeah, I think that with functional medicine in general, it kind of puts the bright lights on what's going on.
Okay.
Right? We're looking at the entire body as a whole. It's holistic. As to where when you're looking at one particular thing or one particular symptom, it's like you're walking into a room and you're trying to play darts at a dartboard, but you can't see what's going on. You have to turn the lights on first. So it's really trying to recognize what's happening with the entire body. And then from there, you really get to hone in on root causes and start to kind of create a better terrain.
Yeah, zoom in over time to the particulars.
Exactly.
Well, this is a great place to start. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Okay, we will have more information on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.